What's going on, guys? This is BunnyMuffins. I'm here with ProGuides, and we are going to be going over the light composition today. 3 different ways to do it. We're just going to go ahead and pick up the bow right here. That was a pretty decent item. Obviously, spatula is the best one. I think carousel priority right now is spatula, rod, sword, bow, gloves, and then everything else. Tier should be up there as well. But for lights, there are 3 different builds. There's a husband and wife build, which is what we're going to go over this game, but it's not really the best build, and I'll show you why through this game. The main reason why it's not that good is because it's very item dependent on Guardian Angel. Pretty much whenever you play lights, you need Guardian Angel, whether it's for Yorick or for Senna, but whenever you play the husband and wife version, which is the one with Soulbound, with Lucian carry and Senna as a support, it is completely mandatory to have Guardian Angel. Whereas if you play regular lights, having Guardian Angel is great on Yorick, but it's by no means required. The 3rd light build is Hyperol lights, which is done by saving up all your gold to the Krug round and then rolling all the way down to 0, trying to get 3-star Vayne, 3-star Nasus, and 3-star Leona, because you'll run Lunars with them as well. But that build's a little not necessary because the difference between level 2 Vayne and level 3 Vayne turns out to be not that much. So while you will have a better mid game due to the hyper roll, your late game suffers a lot because you destroyed your economy. And you really do want to hit level 8 with lights, especially if you don't get the spatula item. Because you will... Because you'll want to fit in either Lunar with Karma and Leona, or maybe fit in Senna, or just put in a random strong legendary such as level 2 Taric or level 2 Singe with Morello. So you really want to hit level 8 because level 7 lights, while it's playable, it doesn't really cut it, and that's why I don't really like the hyper roll build as much. So you'll see here we have great Vayne items. This is like screaming to go Vayne right now because we have both Rageblade and Runon, so if we do get one, you could build it right away and commit right away, but at this point I had a lot of other champions that do not really go into lights, so I hold off on that for now, but I am thinking about going lights already, even though I only have 1 Vayne, just because the items are literally perfect for her. Those are the 2 items you really want. If you really need a 3rd item, you could go something like RFC, but I go ahead and build the Rageblade now because I need to build I need to build some sort of item just so I don't get completely destroyed early. And since I have the 2 Druid start, like, I should win, so building the Rageblade kind of guarantees the win. And it could be argued that I could build RFC there, but Rageblade fits in quite a few builds, whereas RFC I kind of have to go, like, it's mainly good on Olaf and maybe a couple other comps such as Kindred, but that's about it. Whereas Rageblade, while it might not be optimal, it's very versatile, and that's what you want to look for in the early game for your items, because I don't want to lock myself into one comp and be forced to go it, because that would just be elo suicide pretty much. So we find the Nasus here, so again, I still don't have too many lights, so I don't want to commit to selling the Nico, putting in Vayne, and putting on Rageblade Runons, especially when I have level 2 Maokai. The 2 Druid buff just completely OP early game, as you saw before. Nico lived through the entire game despite Kiana attacking her the entire time. That's how strong the Druid buff is, and then finally Nico was able to kill her once she killed everyone else on that team. So definitely you want to keep those starts, because win streaking early, well, you might not get the item you want on carousel. I already have good items, so I don't really need anything specific. Worst case scenario, I could always get a belt and turn the Negatron cloak into a Cyclone or a Zephyr by combining the 2 items, and like that's already like a very good tier 1 item, so I'm not really too concerned about carousel here. I didn't really want to sell anything for interest here because with the Ivern I want to probably put him in this round if I don't find anything better, and that's because I'll get the Druid buff, so I didn't want to sell everything for Econ. And I also want to keep my lights because I do want to see if it is a possibility right now. Right now, Soraka, even though she is part of the light composition, too expensive right now. Though I could probably sell Kog'Maw and Vlad for her. But I think I wanted to complete some other 1-stars at this point. But if you sold Kog'Maw and Vladimir here to buy Soraka, that'd be a fine play as well. But you don't really need her this early in the game. So now we're at Carousel. The items you'll want to build is, since I already have the Vayne items, if I am indeed going lights, I should just not get any more Vayne items because she only really needs 2, Rage Blade and Runons, because the light buff heals her and gives her a lot more attack speed. So I should probably start building Guardian Angel right now. So you could do that with either, obviously Sword's the most preferable since it's more contested, but worst case you get the Chain Vest. Another item I could build is maybe go for some Lucian item, but again, since we already built the Rage Blade, I'm pretty sure Guardian Angel is just the best thing to go for here. Yeah, so luckily we were able to get a 3-cost sword. That's pretty rare, I would say, for first pick. But yeah, I definitely should have bought Soraka here and then sell the Nautilus really quickly, but I don't think I end up doing that. But that's something you should do in your game since I did have the gold for it in the end. So we pick up the Leona here. I get the Jax, and since I for sure had enough gold this time, I just decided to pick him up. And I don't want to completely commit to the light comp yet because sword pretty much goes into any build. Also, this team currently is just strong enough right now, so I don't really think I need to do anything else to win this round and keep my win streak up. It could be noted though that I probably should have leveled up here just to stay strong, but unfortunately I didn't. But I probably would have lost this round anyways because he found a very early Olaf while going Berserker, so it was a little unlucky on the matchup. But yeah, you definitely probably should have leveled up this turn if you were playing this game. So we're back here. We found the Leona. I'm just gonna go ahead and plop her in and probably just, I think Nico should still go in, but I think I want to make interest this turn somehow. So if I sell Nico and the Iverns, I'll get to 30 gold, and then perhaps I could play 1-drop all the items on her and maybe try to fit in lights, but since everything else is level 2, it doesn't make sense to go lights yet. I'm scouting around, no one else is really going lights, so it's very good for me. There's like a Shadow player, or sorry, an Inferno player, Berserker player, I think there are 2 Berserker players, but a couple of Rangers, no one really going lights though. So that's a big sign for me to kind of commit to it. So with that in mind, since I did scout, I probably should have just built the Runons right here because that's going to be the best item I could build right now. And maybe it could have helped me win this game, but this guy has Kindred 2 already before Krug, so there's no way I win last round or this round. Yeah, Varus 2 and Kindred 2, that's probably the best combo on this patch at this stage in the game. First time I've seen that this game. So nothing interesting to buy here. Since we have 3 level 2s, we definitely beat these Krugs, but I want to try to make interest, and that's why you see me swapping people out. Because I think I did want to perform some sort of roll down after this, because I was keeping the hyper roll strategy in the cards. So maybe that's why I didn't decide to level up right away. But since we didn't find too many veins, I probably should have just forgone the hyper roll variant and just commit to just playing regular lights instead. One thing to note, Jax is very good against Krug, so if you ever do have a really weak team, he does get his stun off against the other 2 golems if you place him like how I did this round. So yeah, unfortunately not too much gold drop, so we're gonna have to keep this. And we could build the light spatula item right now with the spatula and the Negatron, but I go ahead and start doing some rolling just because I did want to find level 2 Vayne and Nasus, but since I don't have, like, you only want to hyper roll if it makes a lot of sense to. So when I have 5 veins, for example, then it would make sense to hyper roll. But since I did not, I only have one of them, it really, you really shouldn't go for those types of strategies. Here, I should just build Runons, but I end up building the Giant Slayer because I thought since I had the light spatula item, I could go some sort of Senna build, but again, really inconsistent, especially since I need Sword to build Guardian Angel, and I should not have committed to that build until I actually built the Guardian Angel. So that's a big mistake for me. Definitely it's Runons there, for sure. It could even be Static Shiv, because Rage Blade and Light Buff plus Static Shiv, very strong on Vayne, but yeah, that would have even been better than Giant Slayer. Not that Giant Slayer's a bad item, it's just that I don't have the Guardian Angel yet, and you don't want to commit to a Lucian build that early. And that's what you do when you build Giant Slayer, so learn from me, do not overcommit on items right away. I definitely want to build a light spatula though, but since I don't have any other light 2-stars, or I don't have a single light 2-star, I don't want to build Talisman yet, just to keep other options open, because I could still go Rangers with this Giant Slayer, but it's really tough to say. So here we are taking quite a bit of damage. We pretty much lost like 3 of the last 4 matches, so we probably do have to stabilize sometime soon. I probably should have rolled a little more aggressively, but I think I want to do a fast 7 this game, and I didn't want to kill my economy that badly yet. I really need to get rid of the Maokai though and get some 2-stars, because this team is just way too weak right now. So I find the Lucian, so I think that prompted me to build the light item. I just throw it on Varus because he doesn't... I'm going to sell him now that I found Lucian. So we really just need Senna and the Guardian Angel right now. Another item you want whenever you run the Senna build of the lights is you want to get Morrocrux for Senna as well, just because it's a really strong item on her. So I go ahead and drop the items on Ornn. I just know I'm going to sell him, so you just want to put it on anyone you know you're going to sell. And you can see how weak this build is without Senna. Lucian pretty much just died right away, so again, you don't want to commit to something like this when you don't have the right champions or items yet. I probably should have just stuck to a Vayne build and just built the Runons, because level 1 Vayne, it does the same thing as like level 3 Vaynes once you get to 7 lights. It's kind of crazy. I did not think it was that strong, but if you have the right items on her and if you have good Yorick items, like she'll carry games at level 1. So I think here, sorry, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so I just have a tier here. Not really much I want, so I probably just want to build the Guardian Angel. I was trying to build that last game, but I just made a big mistake by finishing Giant Slayer, but definitely want to try to build a Guardian Angel there. So I grabbed the Chain Vest there from the Aatrox. The Olaf with the bow, it's really unfortunate because a guy who was going Berserkers completed his Olaf with a great item there, and I do end up facing him next round. So we got a tad unlucky on our matchups, but sometimes it happens, and you'll see that in most games some bad luck happens and some good luck happens, and in the end it should all balance out. So we get a huge draw here. We get this Yorick and we get level 2 Jax. So I have 6 people, so I could put in 6 lights, and I think that's what I should be doing. Just because I don't know why I'm not buying Jax though. But yeah, you definitely should put in 6 lights because it's a huge power spike to the rest of your team. So it's a mistake that I did not sell everything and put them in this turn. But it would not have mattered this turn. I also forgot to buy Jax until the end of the round, but I'm facing the strongest dude in the lobby who just hit a huge power spike, so no matter what, I'm taking like 15 health this turn. So we faced this guy when he had Olaf 1 really early, and then he got Olaf 2. Right after he got Olaf 2, we face him again, so it's really unfortunate game so far. So we're at 53 life before Wolf Camp. You never want to be in this situation. I probably should have tried to stabilize around 3-2. If not, I should have leveled up to level 7 here. But for some reason, I didn't have too much gold this game because not a lot dropped from the neutral rounds. We also did a little bit of rolling at level 4 to try to get the veins, which we did not find as well. So a lot of things went wrong this game from those decisions, and hopefully you don't repeat them in your game. I don't really have a good Rage Blade carrier, unfortunately, because I already sold Vayne. But I really need to be putting 6 lights in because it's just much stronger than running Lunar, even though they're level 1s. You'd be very surprised at how strong 6 lights are. The Rage Blade, it could even go on Karma, to be honest, but since Senna has a light item, it's not terrible on her as well. But Rage Blade's decent on Karma just because it gives AP, and I don't really have a good Rage Blade user, so I might as well just put the ability power on her to give more attack speed to my Lucian, who's the carry. Like, she doesn't benefit at all from the attack speed, but it's such a bad item for me right now that it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I should have just kept the Aatrox and waited till I got Guardian Angel before selling him, just to use him as a light. Because 6 lights is a huge power spike, and for some reason I did not elect to go for that this game. I think it's because I was scared that everything was level 1, because I have level 2 Leona there, but again, with 6 lights you get so much attack speed that sometimes it doesn't even matter. So after this turn, we definitely want to level up and roll, because we need level 2 Yorick, we're only 1 off, and we need upgrades of pretty much everything. So whenever you're looking for more than like 4 units, you definitely need to be rolling. So best time to do it is after you level up, and yeah, not much else to say there. So luckily we get this Yorick. We really needed that. So we go ahead and we need to put in 6 lights. I think I take out, yeah, Leona there because Karma has the item. Though it could be argued that I could take off, sell Karma and put the item on someone else because Leona's level 2. And I definitely want to make Hush here because it's just pretty decent Lucian item. Not the best one, but there's not much else to build with it. Yeah, so I get the Soraka, put her in instead of Aatrox to get the Mystic bonus. But yeah, I'm waiting for the Mana Bug on Lucian. If you guys didn't know yet, if you put Tear on someone and then wait till the round starts and then complete the mana item, he gets like an extra 20 mana for that round, so it's always something you should try to abuse. Until they remove it from the game, that is. As you can see, Yorick 2 completely saving my team because he's giving a lot of heals to Lucian, so we got a huge power spike by hitting this Yorick 2. So as I said before, sometimes you get unlucky with the matchups, but maybe you get the luck back sometime in the game from, in this case, hitting Yorick 2. But even though you get unlucky, sometimes you can't dwell too much on it because 1, you can't control it, and 2, you notice it less when you get lucky, if that makes sense, because you are not paying full attention to. It's just the way our brains work sometimes. Another mistake I made right now is I need to put Senna next to Lucian. Or sorry, never mind. Karma's already next to Lucian. I messed that up. So we find the Aatrox 2, so then we take out Soraka. We do lose Mystic, but not the end of the world since we got the level 2 Aatrox. The reason why I rolled more there is because I'm looking for Lucian 2. I have the Nico, so if I do hit Lucian, I'm just going to Nico it right away, and just finding one person really isn't that tough. And you can see here the weakness of this composition when you do not have Guardian Angel on Senna. Lucian died right away because Senna got assassinated by LeBlanc and Lucian got assassinated by Qiyana, so if we had the Guardian Angel, we would have won this game, but This is a terrible matchup if you do not have GA, just because the assassins just kill your backline and Yorick doesn't have time to ult everyone. So huge hit on the Soraka here. I think I replaced Nasus since we don't have Wardens. You could go ahead and keep Nasus on your bench, and again, this is why you really need to try to hit level 8 so that you could fit both Lunar and Wardens. It's a pretty decent tank line, and since I'm low, I should try to look to level up to 8 as soon as possible. If anything, I should take out Karma right now, because at level 1, she's not doing too much. Oh, one thing on positioning, you always want to put Senna in a corner because her ult always hits the furthest away target. So when you put her in a corner, she hopefully buffs more people on your team. So we are at 38 gold, so if we get something 2 cost or more on the carousel, we're definitely going to be selling that for interest. Always count how much gold you have before going into a carousel so that you know how much gold you need to get, and perhaps sell on your bench as well, because again, missing 1 gold can always lead to missing the next interest threshold, so it's much more than 1 gold that you could be missing out on. So I definitely want Sword here for Guardian Angel. Unfortunately, the lobby is really tight right now, so even though I'm very low, like the top 3 players are at 70 and above, and then it drops down to 30. I'm actually 3rd pick here, so that's very unfortunate because I cannot get the Sword. Yeah, I don't think there are pretty much no good options here. I probably should have just taken the health, just because it was worth the most gold. End up taking the magic resist though. You could build disarm, but again, I'm really saving that for Guardian Angel, so I took the Negatron for potential Zephyrs. But if I was going to go for that, I should have just taken the Zed right away. But I think in my mind I was just complaining about not hitting the proper item due to my unlucky pick, since we're pretty much the same health as everyone below us, but we're 3rd pick despite that. And you'll notice I leveled up here. Lobby is super tight. Even though I cannot roll, I have a 2-star on my bench, and I just need to live for as long as possible to try to get top 4 here, just because the entire lobby is so tight. And whenever you see that, you need to be leveling up and not saving up your gold, because if you do that, you're just going to lose. You're going to get like a lot more 8s than you should have. So again, unfortunate matchup. This Berserker guy completely destroys me. Berserkers counter everyone without frontline, and since I only have 1 Warden and a Yorick for my frontline, it's just a very terrible matchup. So now, since I'm in kill range, I get very desperate here. I actually build a disarm for my Lucian, and that means I don't have a chance to get Guardian Angel. But yeah, very unfortunate that I faced this Berserker guy 3 times already. But again, sometimes luck works against you, sometimes it works for you. You just have to try to manage it the best that you can, and that's what TFT is all about. So we do get the Lucian here. I think I do end up selling the Nasus and Nicoing, just because we're tying here. We don't have time to waste to try to get a bigger power spike. So that's why I build disarm here, just because you just can't. When I can get 5th or 8th, you're not going for optimal items at that point in the game. So no Guardian Angel, just build the disarm and try to do your best. And as you can see here, it does help me a lot, because that Scion just pretty much did nothing this entire game. I think we do still end up losing, but it's not as bad as it could have been. Yeah, so now we're at 8 health. Because whenever you're at 17 or under 20 life, like, there's a very high chance that you can die from 1 death. It's like 1 bad matchup and you're toast. So don't take any risk when you're at that point, even though you could have waited for optimal items. Unfortunate that we find the Lucian there after we Nico, but there's honestly nothing we need to Nico. You don't really go for 3 stars. I think that's a waste of money, especially on lights, because let's go over all the units. Any 3-star without items is useless. So Jax, Aatrox, Soraka, They're Leona, they're all useless. And then if you read Yorick, at level 3, or at 3-star, he ults 12 people instead of 3, but that doesn't really make that much of a difference, since if he has the proper items, he's going to survive and ult your whole team anyway, so it's very minor upgrade. It's also really difficult to get Yorick to 3-star. So we get a rapid fire here. I probably should be putting this on Senna, but I end up putting it on Soraka. Soraka's a very underrated light unit. Her silence is completely nuts. And since she survived so long, she's going to get all the light buffs on her, so it's not too bad to put rapid fire cannon on her. And then that sword's just completely dead, so I just drop it on Soraka. But perhaps it could be argued that I could drop rapid fire on Senna just to keep her in the backline. But yeah, without Guardian Angel here, I can't expect more than like 6th place. And that's with some luck, because I have to win every single round for the next 2 rounds. But yeah, as you can see here, with those items, Soraka did 2nd most damage, like pretty much behind Lucian, despite only having 1.5 items in Lucian as a full build. Granted, Lucian doesn't have damage items, he only has Giant Slayer, but it goes to show that any backliner with the light buff just can terrorize a lot of teams. So I'm pretty much just scouting for Zephyrs, scouting for any assassin jumps. So I see that that person has a Zephyr in the middle, so I go ahead and move Lucian to the side. Don't end up facing him, but it's always something you should look out for. It might have still hit Lucian there, but I think it was a 50-50 between him, Yorick, and Leona. Sorry, 33%. So this Predator guy, he kind of falls off in the game because he went for level 3 Nocturne instead of just going to level 8. Big mistake on his part. Again, if you don't have items on your guy, I know he has a Guardian Angel on him, but he's not like his primary carry. You don't really want to go for 3-star units that don't help you at all. So useful 3-stars this meta is something like Kindred, because she actually is your carry. So that's something you should strive to get, whereas everything else, not really that useful for you. Going for 3-star Karma is okay, but that's only if your main carry is already really big. Again, like him 3-starring Kog'Maw, it makes complete sense because Kog'Maw is the main carry in Predators, but Nocturne, he's a support unit. He's not even a Predator. He's just there to give steal to Rek'Sai, so complete waste from him. That's a lot of gold that he wasted, both for rolling and for buying the champion. So this person has Taric 2 with honestly pretty decent items. You don't really need Rage Blade or Rapid Fire Cannon on him, but yeah, pretty much Taric 2 is probably the best champion in the game. Somehow I pulled the win off here. I think, I'm not even sure who carried that. It might have been Soraka or Senna, or maybe we just got a really good tank line with Yorick. So we get so lucky here. We get a Guardian Angel, and that turns this comp from from a top 6 to at least a top 2, in my opinion, because this composition is only the worst version of Lights because it's difficult to get the right items for it. But if you do get the right items, you get top 3 at least with Guardian Angel, Senna, and then if you have great Lucian items, we have decent ones here. Hush and Giant Slayer are very good, but Disarm's kind of lackluster. And you could get like top 2 or top 1 very easily with this comp. So if you want to win, but you want to kind of like rely on some high rolling, which is pretty much essentially just getting lucky, highly recommend going for the husband and wife build, which is what we're doing right now. But if you want something more consistent, just go for the regular Lights with Vayne build and then use Yorick carry. Again, you just need 2 items for Vayne. We had them this game, but we just didn't hit Vayne at all in the early game, so that's why I decided not to go for it. But just Rage Blade, Runons, and then Guardian Angel on Yorick with anything else on Yorick. Trap Claw's really good on him. Rabadon's is really good on him. Morello's is good on him. Pretty much any item is great on Yorick, just because it'll allow him to cast more ultimates. And the ability power makes his ghost a lot stronger as well. Yeah, you'll end up seeing, in this game, you'll end up seeing the power of this composition, but also the inconsistency of it, because if I did not get lucky in that carousel grabbing the Guardian Angel, this would have been a much different game. And again, we got lucky on that carousel, but we got extremely unlucky on some of the matchups of our fights, so everything balances out in most cases. So we see the two Aatroxes here. I could pick them both up because it's not costing me any interest, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do it because Aatrox is a very strong unit, but I have no items for him. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice. So again, every match you want to look out for Zephyr placements. I probably should have moved him further away, but I think I still wanted to get the Karma buff on him, so it is a 50-50 at this point, but I think I end up high rolling it as well. So that's another point where I got lucky. I was probably a little too greedy with the Karma buff because it's not completely necessary for Lucian, and if Karma buffs a different light unit, it's not the end of the world at all. So I definitely should have just moved my Lucian elsewhere. Another thing you need to scout for is assassins, but now that we have the Guardian Angel, it doesn't affect us as much. Another thing to keep in mind, I didn't have anything to roll for because I have everything upgraded, so whenever you're in that situation, you just want to pick up all the legendary units and then try to hit level 9 and then just put any one of them in. Not much else I can add to this composition. I could go into something like a Master Yi for Mystic and Blade Master, but like Aatrox isn't one of my carries, so no sense in doing that. Unless I get perfect Master Yi items, there's like no reason to go for that. Tarek's just a solid unit overall, same for a Mumu. Any of the legendary wardens, even a Malphite, they're just great frontline and tanks that soak up a lot of damage for your team, so you definitely want to go for those. So I think I should level up here. Because I'll probably have 20 gold to roll with, and especially with the Nico drop, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Debatable if I should just finish the Janna there, but I think since I already had Mystic, it's not as worth it. Yeah, so here I should just sell Tarek and buy Mumu and Nico, because that is a very big power spike, and this item should definitely go on Soraka since she already has rapid fire cannon, so pretty much just any attack speed's good on her, but none of my champions really make use of any of those items because those are great Vayne items, but I'm not running her this game, and if I was, I should have her itemized right away or already. So some of the stronger comps in this game are like things like Berserkers, which a lot of people I think are underrating. But you'll see that the guy in first place, even though he high rolled a lot, he's still at like 42 health, and that's because he went like an early game composition, which not a lot of other teams can stay at that high health that early. And even though he's going to lose because Berserkers get outscaled completely, it's going to be fine for him because getting top 3 is using an uncontested comp that's like S tier in my opinion is pretty much you can't complain about not getting first every game. A lot of people I've noticed that are trying to get better at the game, they always think compositions that cannot get first place are very bad, and that's the trap you shouldn't fall in because there are 8 places in TFT and getting first is like, it should happen every, I think, 12.5% of the time. And it's like, if you get anything more than that, it's like, you're already doing well for yourself, so you really don't need to force getting... You don't really have to play compositions that get first place all the time, and again, it's a big bait to try to go for high roll comps such as like the comp I'm playing now, the husband and wife comp, or going for things like... Sorry for the sirens in the back, let me wait. But a composition doesn't have to be... A good composition doesn't have to be one that gets first place. For example, the best 2 compositions right now is the Inferno build, which it pretty much never gets first place in my opinion. It revolves around Kindred carry and 6 Inferno, and Kindred falls off so hard that you pretty much always get like third place with that comp. Another good composition is Berserkers, like I was saying before, and they pretty much never get first as well. Unless you really high roll it, but this guy didn't. He doesn't have the best Olaf items. So whenever that happens, like, it just goes to show that first place isn't important at all in TFT. You just need a solid team enough to just get a high average placement, and the Inferno build's perfect for that because it gets top 3 in the majority of the games you play it in. So I think I want the Zephyr here. Zephyr's just the best late game item. Whenever you disable a carry for free, for like a couple seconds, you can't really get anything better than that, because you should have your carries itemized already. The only time you don't want Zephyr late game is if you have like a level 2 Lux and she needs another item, or like a level 2 Master Yi. Like just some heavy late game carry unit that that you haven't built items for already because you got them too late in the game. So one thing to do here is keep your Zephyr on the bench and spread out your units. I should have put someone in the back row next to Soraka so that I could cyclone his Olaf, but I did not think about that in time. I thought since I had the Zephyr on the bench, I could place it on and target whoever I wanted, but since I didn't position correctly, I didn't get to cyclone his Olaf. But whenever this happens, you want to copy the other person's positioning. He placed everyone in the back row, so I should have done the same with most of my units as well, just to guarantee a cyclone on Olaf, which is pretty much guarantees a win. Because the later Olaf gets off, it just means that he can't get his ultimate off soon enough. So it's not even the damage that the other team's missing out on, it's the fact that Olafs can still get CC'd early enough, so I really should have just placed everyone in the back. But I did not realize this mistake until after this game. But it's just something you should be aware of moving forward. To be honest, I don't even know what I'm rolling for here. I think the only upgrade to my team that I can make is Tarek 2, but it's not really worth replacing anything else here. I could perhaps ditch Karma or Leona. That's probably what I should have done. I probably should have sold Leona there, place in the Tarek, and then replace the Zephyr, because Lunar doesn't do anything for you at this stage in the game. It's way too late. The fights are decided way before Lunar even kicks in. So yeah, I should have just sold Leona and then replace my Zephyr on at the beginning of the round, and that way I can counter either Zed or Olaf, which are his 2 main carries. Lux doesn't really do much for us here, so you don't really need to pay attention to her. The only good Lux might be like Steel Lux or Cloud Lux, but even then, there's just... The only person I can replace is Leona, and I'd rather have a Tarek there, because Tarek against Berserkers is a counter, and pretty much any counter to Berserker is frontline, so if you ever are struggling against them, go for things like a Mumu or Tarek late game, because it just completely shuts them down. And that's why Berserkers are so strong early, it's because no one has frontline yet. So we do finally find the Tarek here, so easy replacement on the Leona. I get to replace my Cyclone, and whenever you can sell a unit with Cyclone on it late in the game, you definitely want to be doing it right away, because again, you can be even getting like a level 1 Karma or Soraka or Senna instead of a level 2. The Cyclone's going to be worth more than whatever upgrade they have. But again, I make a lot of mistakes this game. I really should have just waited until, like, moved everyone in the back, to Cyclone, but I was too distracted this game to figure out that mistake. And you should always try to be learning within the games as well, because it's gonna just make a huge difference for all of your placements. But yeah, that's it for lights today. Again, the strongest light build is just a regular light build with 2 carry items on Vayne, attack speed based, Guardian Angel and Yorick, and you just forgo all the Senna nonsense and just put in Lunars and strong units, and then eventually replace the Lunars with either like more Mystics or more Wardens, depending on what your lobby is. The next strongest light build is the one we just played, which revolves around Guardian Angel, Senna, and Lucian carry. And this build's only good if you get the right items, which are Guardian Angel and Senna, which is a must, and then Lucian items, which are Giant Slayer, Jeweled Gauntlet. Anything on hit base, such as Hush, is very good as well. And then lastly, you have the Hyper Roll Light build. This one I would only go for if you have 4 or 5 Vanes before Crumbz and good light items. They're all very situational, but when you can go either 3 of them, it makes lights a pretty decent comp overall. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this was BunnyMuffins with ProGuides, and I also make other guides on my YouTube channel at BunnyMuffins, at youtube.com/BunnyMuffins. But yeah, thank you so much for checking this out. I'll see you guys next time.